to the CastOFF. I am your host, Craig Price, and we have got a whole new thing going on. This is the show where two contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors and movies you love. I'm your host, Craig Price, and it's been about 2 months since we crowned a new champion, and in Season 3, we're changing it up a little bit. First off, there is no tournament this year. We're not doing a tournament. We are just going to be doing interactions right now because the tournament was limiting us from having some really great matchups, and I didn't want that to stop us. Also, number 2, as you may or may not have noticed, we've upgraded the studio. More lights, better cameras, a little production value, some audio, things as... This will allow me to include folks that can't play on Tuesdays because now with the new studio, I can record in advance, though we prefer to do it live here at the CastOFF. We also don't want to miss out on some great contestants, and that sets up a very smooth segue because speaking of some great contestants, we have some of the very best with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Clubhouse podcast, current and Season 2 champion, Rob Ervin, and from the Cult 45 Season 1 champion, Randy Redacted. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Internet.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
You already sound defeated. A little upbeat. We'll get you some pepper, but we'll start with...
Ooh, I'm so happy. Yeah.
He's already salty. This is not good.
No.
I come in Salt Bay.
Well, Rob, you have been sitting pretty as the champion for about 2 months now. How has your life changed now that you have become the CastOFF champion?
Well, all it took was for me to win CastOFF, and we've beaten COVID. So that's the ticker tape parade was great, which mostly just happened in my living room with my wife throwing papers at me. But no, it was an absolute honor. This is always so much fun. The fact that I get to do this episode with Randy, who knows I'm a huge fan of him. He and I did Gaggle of Geeks a couple of months ago with the films of 1991 and had an absolute blast. So shout out to the guys at Gaggle of Geeks for having both of us on together.
And how's the Clubhouse going? You guys have been doing the Clubhouse podcast every Sunday. And
yes, sir.
Are you still doing your marathons of like 4-hour shows?
That was what we did over the weekend with the Cheap Podcast because it was WrestleMania weekend. We did the deconstruction on Sunday night. Clubhouse is back in full swing this week as we are on the final 2 months of season 11, which, if you can believe it, it's crazy. We're marching towards, I want to say we're getting close to 600 total episodes, maybe more than that. But yeah, everything's going great. We're having a blast at Vocal now.
Well, then we get over to the Cult 45 podcast. Randy, how are you been?
I have been salty, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. It's great to talk more about movies and be on other things. And we just got done releasing our King Kong versus Godzilla episode because we had to go back and watch that terrible piece of garbage. But you know, we got to see where the gift comes from, so that's important, right? Yay! And then we watched Godzilla versus King Kong, the 2021 version, and we're just like, okay, yeah. There's callbacks, there's things, yeah, cool. So yeah, we're just chilling now. We're just trying to get over being, working dads and all. That's all it is.
Well,
working dads.
The work doesn't stop right yet because let's get to the rules of tonight's games. As you guys are both familiar with, we have very simple rules. We've got, and again, this is all new stuff, so there's always at least one tech problem. But the rules, I'm going to name a character. You're going to name an actor. Then the best choice gets 1 point. I have also secretly selected, and if you happen to match mine, you'll get an additional point. Just because you get Craig's secret selection doesn't mean you get best choice. We have had several people who have vetoed my secret selection. I can't believe that happened. And they got best choice and someone else got Craig's secret selection. Person with the most points wins because that's the American way. We don't do ties here. That's for Europeans. If there is a tie, we will resolve it tonight. double feature to win. That means if you're familiar with the Matinee Heroes podcast, you'll know that we always do a double feature, and on the spot, you'll have to give me a double feature, and I don't know what these are, and I will be the final judge if there is a tie, so let's hope there isn't, because I hate being the one who has to destroy someone's life. As always, the cast-off is sponsored by Matinee Heroes, and this week, as we continue Arnold April, we are doing Kindergarten Cop with Liz Cerna, and of course, Kindergarten Cop was one of the few comedies that he's done. One of the few intentional comedies that Arnold has done. And it's also very good. So you can subscribe to the podcast at matineeheroes.com/subscribe. And if one of the things we're also doing new this season is on Thursdays, we will be posting this show that you're watching right now as an audio-only version with the post-show exclusively on Matinee Heroes. And while you're over there, you can go to matineeheroes.com/castoff, where you can find all the ways to subscribe to the video feed. So let's get on to our show. This season begins with the greatest improv comedy group ever assembled by Christopher Guest and Best in Show. Are you guys ready?
Let's do this.
That's my line, but yes.
Gimmick infringement. I apologize.
Well,
my one question before we begin, Randy, did you watch this movie?
No. Of course not. Why would I stamp on tradition?
I had people ask me that. My wife just asked, did Randy watch this movie? And I'm like, probably. And then, of course, Tracy went, probably not. Tracy Mangum knows, and Tracy was one of the judges. So this is going to be fun.
The only place you can get
that's not good, because he's looking at my picks going,
he doesn't know what your he doesn't know whose picks are whose.
And if you want to go watch it, if you have HBO Max, it's actually included with that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I'll watch it right after this then.
It would have been helpful to watch it right before this. But we'll start off with Jerry Fleck, played by the great Eugene Levy. Now, Jerry is the owner of the Norwich Terrier, Winky. And the great thing about Jerry is he literally has 2 left feet. So that was a great thing that they talked about throughout the movie, his 2 left feet. People always thought it was a figure of speech until you look down, and sure enough, how do you get all those 2 left shoes? That's what I want to know. So, Rob, you go first. We'll start with you. Who do you have playing Jerry?
Well, we have to send a shout out to our lady of the house, Jen Rome. She actually had a dog like this at one point, and actually had it, and she did show her dog, and she won first place with her dog. So whenever we can shamelessly tie anything to our show, I am totally okay with that. But how do you recast Eugene Levy? Dear God, man, this was one of the 2 hardest for me, and it took me the second longest, but I went with the great John Tuturo in this role.
Absolutely.
It just works for me.
Now, John is known for, I wouldn't say funny characters, but definitely jumpy, unsettled characters, not unlike Jerry Fleck. He was great in things like Do the Right Thing and The Big Lebowski, Miller's Crossing. Of course, he will slum it doing Transformers movies. I'm really looking forward to him playing Falcone in the new Batman. So John Turturro. Randy.
Yes. It's always a great, like, here we go. All right. So yes, so from the trailer that I saw, I did see the 2 left feet joke, but I didn't get a lot of a guy who was assertive or kind of a wimp. That was what my guess was, who this person was. He was kind of, he really didn't want to be there. And it reminded me of the character Jerry from Rick and Morty. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get Chris Parnell to play this character.
Absolutely.
Nice.
That's a very good one. He is known for being a master cuck, because not only is he a cuck on Rick and Morty, where he is the beaten down dad, he's in Archer, he's the beaten down ex-boyfriend, on again, off again boyfriend. So, of course, we all know him from Saturday Night Live and Anchorman, and of course, as Dr. Spaceman or Dr. Spaceman.
Dr. Spaceman
on 30 Rock. So we've got Jerry Fleck, played by John Turturro. Randy wants Chris Parnell. I went with a Steve Carell.
Close.
Okay.
The judges conferred, and Randy gets the point with Chris Parnell.
What?
It's not that difficult.
It's not that hard.
That was a perfect. I think even Rob will agree that was almost perfect casting.
That's a strong casting.
That's a strong one.
Strong casting. Yeah. I was like,
Well, next we get to Jerry's wife, Cookie, and her cavalcade of exes who keep trying to steal her from Jerry, played by Catherine the Great, Catherine O'Hare. Randy, you go first. Who do you have playing, almost impossibly replacing Catherine O'Hara?
so when I saw the trailer, I was like, because you gave me the list, like Catherine O'Hara. I didn't even see her in the trailer. I didn't realize that was her sitting next to Eugene Levy. And I was like, oh, you guys are just like the perfect couple, like forever, I guess. So then she had this like weird makeup setup that I just kind of like washed over. And what was weird was it reminded me of an SNL skit that there was just like a gaudy couple who were just hanging out in the hot tub. And the best person I remember that scene with Jimmy Fallon was Drew Barrymore. So I went with Drew Barrymore.
Talk show host Drew Barrymore, known as the youngest host of SNL at 7 years old.
That was not the episode I saw.
Dear God, I hope not.
No. She was obviously in E.T. and in Firestarter. We all know that. And then she came on to Scream to die for us. And then Charlie's Angels, Ever After, and now doing the talk show. She is a little high-strung for my taste, but I think she could easily pull this off if you do it, especially with Chris Parnell as a crutch, because Chris Parnell, he's one of those guys that can carry the load. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right on his back.
Rob.
Well, as you guys know, if you've watched me play this game, I always have to cast one off of the other. So if you're going to have Tuturo, as I was watching this movie, of course, again, how do you recast Catherine O'Hara? She's amazing. She's one of the great improv artists of our time. But my brain kept going back to one person, especially with the hair. And it is one of my current favorite actresses who's on one of my current favorite shows. And it's Wendy Mclennan Covey from the Goldbergs.
Also a very good, exceptional, out
Yes,
there
sir.
improv character actress. She was in Bridesmaids. Of course, we all know her from Reno 911. Got to put the movie down, Reno 911, Miami. I have not seen this yet, but it's definitely on my list. I want to see Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. I hear it's stupid funny.
Her and Kristen Wiig in the same movie? Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. Well, she was in Bridesmaid with her.
Yeah.
But this one is... And then, of course, the Goldbergs, and then if she just to tie in the whole TV, she was the TV reporter on Bewitched, because she doesn't have a lot of movie credits, lots of TV. So we've got Cookie, played by Drew Barrymore, or Wendy Mclennan Covey. I went with perennial all-star and newfound love of everyone from WandaVision, Catherine Hahn. And the judges conferred, and Rob is on the board. It's a
There
tie
we go.
game, 1-1.
Oh, it's one of those movies. It's one of those shows. Okay.
Well, it's going to get a little harder if you haven't seen the movie, because the next one is Hamilton Swann. Yeah, this guy, he is the handler of the Weimaraner Beatrice, who he and his wife, played by Parker Posey, traumatize the dog when the dog watches them have sex. And that's when the busy bee gets all involved and chaos ensues. So, Rob, who do you have playing the uptight, yuppie Weimaraner handler?
The dynamics to this couple is one of my favorite parts about this film, because if you don't know anything about this film, the entire script treatment for this is 12 pages long.
Yeah, I figured.
Most of this is improv.
All of it's improv.
And the story of them meeting, and one of them's at one Starbucks and the other one's at the other Starbucks, and you have to go through their entire Starbucks history. I howl laughing. And there's only one person I could see that could pull off that much fake braces at one time, although Parker Posey's were real. And that's Thomas Lennon.
Well, Randy knows if they were at a Starbucks across from the Starbucks, they must have been in Houston at the West Gray Starbucks, because
The end of the universe.
there's 3 there. There's 3 at that corner of West Gray, unless they've moved, unless they've gotten rid of them. Last time I checked.
No. They shut it down and then moved it across the street.
So Thomas Lennon, widely comedic improver, but he was also Christopher Nolan's go-to doctor. He played a doctor in Memento and The Dark Knight Rises. Both episodes you can hear here on Matinee Heroes, matineeheroes.com. Not that we spent the time talking about Thomas Lennon as the doctor, but it's just odd that when Christopher Nolan needs someone to be a doctor, it's Thomas Lennon. He is actually a very successful, even though the movies are kind of garbage, he's a very successful writer. He wrote Herbie Fully Loaded and made a big money at it. He was in 17 again, and then, this one got cut off a little bit. The Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. So that's something to good. It's always good when you have some kind of Nazi horror movie on your list.
Well, after last month's theme on Matinee Heroes.
Yes. Well, I don't have a bleep button, but yes, bleep Nazis.
Yep.
So, Randy, who do you have as the uptight yuppie?
So, I thought, because from the trailer, that whole sex thing's in there. So I thought it was going to be a continuous thing where they were constantly having sex with each other and upsetting the dog. That was going to be a thing throughout the whole movie. And then I was like, that character, that super strong, uptight person, reminded me of the bit in Key and Peele where it's Mr. Continental and he's sitting at the breakfast table just orgasming over all the food. And I was just like, I want to see Jordan Peele do this bit.
Wow, nice.
Yes, Jordan Peele. I had to find the nerdiest picture I could of Jordan Peele. I'm
sure it was real hard.
Because no, it's actually he's got that nice beard going now. He looks really
right.
cool and tight. So he is a comedy genius, but also a horror god with his direction. He obviously from Key and Peele and Mad TV. Not a lot of movie credits. Keanu, we all know him from Keanu, but Wanderlust and Little Fockers were there, and of course he produced and was the Rod Serling of The Twilight Zone on CBS, Paramount Plus, whatever the hell it's called now.
Yeah.
So, this is quite a dichotomy. We have Thomas Lennon versus Jordan Peele. I was looking for like a Gene Wilder from The Producers type.
Okay.
Someone neurotic, uptight, but also very yuppie-ish. The judges conferred, and Rob takes the lead 2-0 with Thomas Lennon. So basically, if you went with Reno 911, you're in good shape.
Apparently so.
Well, next is his wife Meg, played by Parker Posey, and she is amazing in this movie. The adult braces are what define her as the ultra Karen. She is Karen before Karen was Karen. So, Randy, who do you have playing the uptight Weimaraner owner?
So, this is more of a personal choice for me because I really like the words. Like, I just don't like Parker Posey at all. It's just like I just don't like her face. And then so I was like, I need to find someone who other people don't like. So I went with Kelly Marie Tran, just because I figured people don't like her.
Well, that's what she is.
Just randomly.
Yeah,
right?
She is a toxic fanboy fuel. She's a sweetheart.
I know.
And that's this. She got the raw deal with The Last Jedi. She was great in it, and the fanboys can go suck it. But Disney did not forget how good she was in The Last Jedi, and she is now a Disney princess, as Raya and the Last Dragon has just come out.
Movie is
which
so
I hear
good.
is doing awesome. Yeah,
So good.
I haven't seen it yet, but
And I hope that she does very well from it, because I really like Kelly Marie Tran. I think she's very good. So I like that pick, Randy. Good job.
Thanks.
Outside the box, but we're going to go inside the Clubhouse Show box with Rob. Rob, what do you have?
See what you did there. Well played.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my segues because I think I hurt myself with that one.
Yep.
So again, I had to get somebody to pair off against Thomas Lennon. How does the chemistry work? The braces have to work. And when you can pretty much be in Oscar contention for a role where at one point we wear braces, and maybe this is a cheap pick, and I don't care because somehow we get to shoehorn her into every cast-off episode. I went with Margot Roby.
Well, sure. She's the current it girl, but talented because she's not just a pretty face, despite the fact that in The Big Short, that's all she was there for. It was to explain very difficult financial stuff while looking sexy in a hot tub. But she could play people you're uncomfortable with in I, Tonya. And, of course, some people like and some people dislike Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey. But she can also play, outside the box with the Mary Queen of Scots. So she's got quite an impressive resume building. So another good pick. So this one's going to be tough because Kelly Marie Tran, which I like. Margot Roby, which I like. Of course, I went with veteran Molly Shannon.
Nice.
Because Molly, superstar. She is amazing. And prime 1999 Molly Shannon from SNL would have killed this. But the judges conferred, and I totally disagree with this one, but they went with Margot Robbie. I was outvoted on this one. I really like Kelly Marie Tran, so
That's a strong pick. I like when Randy puts it out there on a limb like that.
Yeah.
And the chemistry between her and Jordan Peele, that would be magic in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it just happens. Like, whatever, fine. Just pick the regular white people. Whatever. Try to bring some culture to your movie.
yeah. What is all this diversity you're bringing? Come on, man.
How dare you? You swapped out 2 white people for ethnicities. Get out of my office.
Well, next is Sherry Ann Cabot, played by the magnificent Jennifer Coolidge. Sherry Ann is the owner of the poodle Rhapsody in White, otherwise known as Butch. And the thing about her is that she is a trophy wife that falls in love with the dog's handler, played by another legend of improv, Jane Lynch. So, Rob, who do you have?
This was another tough one for me. And I know I'm not going to get your secret pick unless you do the same secret pick twice, because I went with the amazing, and I'm so glad she's finally getting her due because I've been a huge fan for years. I went with Kathryn Hahn.
Of course, yeah. Kathryn Hahn. She's a versatile comedy actress. Not really done much leads until WandaVision, but she was always a great supporting character. She was an Anchorman, Step Brothers, Captain Fantastic, but it wasn't until Bad Moms that my wife recently watched during the pandemic that I only heard. And some of the things that come out of Kathryn Hahn's voice was disturbing. And of course, we know her as Agnes from WandaVision. All right. What do you got, Randy?
That makes me nervous. This is okay. So, what's the original character's name? I always see her in like other movies as the TV mom, or like
from Stifler's mom from American Pie.
Stifler's mom, yeah. And it's just like she always plays like this kind of like preppy but really attractive older lady, and I was just like, I want a really attractive, not so older lady, but old enough. It's like, so I went with Allison Brie.
Yeah, she is not an older lady, but that's okay. I think she's younger than you, but that's okay.
Huge crush. Well played, sir.
Oh,
huge
she's
crush.
For what we're looking for, trophy wife, absolutely. Beautiful and talented. Another versatile comedy actress. I wanted you guys both picked quality folks that can do a lot, because she can play uppity in Community and Mad Men, but then she can play down to earth and Glow, and in The Disaster Artist, The Post. So she's got some credits to her. Yeah, I like her a lot in Community. She was really good.
Yes.
So we have Kathryn Hahn, Allison Brie. I went with Missy Pyle. And if you don't know Missy Pyle,
all right,
yeah, it's a good pick too.
She's from Galaxy Quest. She's one of those ladies that either plays really weird looking. She had the weird teeth in Dodgeball, and then she's absolutely gorgeous half the other times. So it's quite astounding. But the judges,
heroes too.
She was, and the judges went with Rob. So Rob has taken a commanding lead 4-1, but there's still plenty of points on the board, and it's possible. I know Randy's shaking his head, but it is possible.
Sometimes it's what you don't see on this show that's funnier than what you do.
Game over.
Well, now we get to director Christopher Guest's Harlan Pepper and his Bloodhound Hubert. Now, Harlan is just a sweet guy. He's a crappy ventriloquist, and then of course he apparently knows every type of nut that there is. He is the Bubba Buford of nuts instead of shrimp.
Oh.
So Randy.
Yep.
Who do you have?
You know, when I hear about like the descriptions, it just makes these picks even more ridiculous.
Well,
like, yeah,
I knew you didn't watch. I knew you didn't
fun.
watch this. I knew you didn't watch it, and so
yeah.
I wanted to.
I was like, nah, I didn't watch this. Whatever.
So who do you have playing the sweet ventriloquist nut lover, Harlan Pepper?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. This is a good pick. So, in the trailer, you only see this character maybe for 5 seconds, and I got weird redneck outdoorsy type, and I thought maybe like the movie was going to be kind of centered around him more than anything else, but because I didn't realize he was the director and the writer, so I was like, okay, well now that makes more sense. So for this pick, I went with someone who could play lovable but also kind of dim-witted. So I went with Edward Norton.
Nice.
Lovable, but can play somewhat dim-witted.
And I found the most dim-witted picture I could of him. So he is known as the Forgotten Hulk. Yeah, he's part of the MCU, but he somehow apparently transformed into Mark Ruffalo. Same character, not a Eric Bana situation. He is
but I
canon.
think we all know
That
why.
guy.
Oh, we know why.
Yeah.
But he was American History X and Fight Club. Both you can find in the archives of Matinee Heroes at matineeheroes.com. He was in The Italian Job, Moonrise Kingdom, and then, of course, he played Graham, Agent Graham in Red Dragon with Ray Fiennes. So that leaves you with Rob. Rob, who do you have?
I will tell you, Randy, go just find his clips from this movie, especially the ventriloquism stuff. It's that alone is worth the price of admission in this film. This was the hardest one for me.
HBO Max after
There you go.
Turn it on after this.
This was the hardest one for me because how do you embrace, like Randy was saying, that lovable redneck, but maybe not too pretty? And Christopher Guest just nails this. That's something I don't normally do. I time traveled just a little bit, and I went to a Wings era Thomas Hayden Church when he played Lowell.
Absolutely. He was what we call the Woody of Wings. Mm-hmm. He was the dumb, sweet guy that kind of ran. He was a mechanic, but he was in Tombstone, which we did here at Matinee Heroes. I think he was nominated for Sideways as Best Supporting Actor.
I think you're right.
John Carter, which was our very first episode. You just don't know him because he's one of the aliens. Of course, he was in that documentary, Idiocracy. The Premonition that turned into Accurate documentary, Idiocracy. And then the most recent thing I've seen him in is something that it's a very sweet movie, The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Love that movie so much.
I mean, as a wrestling fan, I knew you'd like that one, Rob, because that was a great one. So we've got Edward Norton, Thomas Hayden. I went with Stephen Root because if you want a redneck, he can be sweet or awful. Stephen Root.
You can never go wrong with Stephen Root.
No, you cannot.
He's a really good pick. Yeah.
Well, let's not waste any more time. The show is over. Thomas Hayden has won. And with that, Rob, you are today's winner and continued champion. There's the belt. There's the belt.
Has been defended successfully.
Belt out.
I have successfully defended the belt. I'm just happy that I actually got to do one of these with Randy because Randy knows I'm a huge fan of him. And make sure you're checking out Cult 45 podcast. Those guys do an amazing job. You wouldn't know that's his podcast. He's not advertising it or anything, but these are so much fun, guys, especially now that Craig has opened this up to everybody. Go out there, become a contestant. It's so much fun to do. And don't think I can't do this. Don't think just go and do it one time. You'll want to keep doing it every week because this is so much fun. And Craig's a great host and he always has amazing guests. I watch every week. I subscribe to Matinee Heroes as well. I'm so excited every time I get to work with anybody that's part of this Matinee Heroes CastOFF family. So thank you for the opportunity. Make sure you guys are making smart choices and being safe.
I wonder if you'd say all that stuff if you'd lost. But anyways, we'll never
I would just blame Randy for everything.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
But next week we've got a great matchup as Kerry Gordon from the Metal Geeks returns to fight against Big Water Brewery's Ben Jones. And they will be recasting not the theatrical cut, but the Snyder cut of Justice League. Yes, I have spent money on some special effects, and I'm going to use them no matter how goofy they may be.
You're fancy.
I will never watch the movie. I don't care.
That's all right. Well,
I enjoyed it.
If you like the show, you can follow us on Twitter at the CastOFF Show, which is our new Twitter handle. So anybody who's been following Matinee Heroes, please follow the CastOFF Show on Twitter. You can follow us along at the Facebook group at Matinee Heroes. You can look for the video links at matineeheroes.com/castoff until we get enough subscribers over at YouTube to get us a custom URL. And then, of course, you can still watch us at twitch.tv/matineeheroes. Want to be a contestant as Rob doing such a great job because he's a host as well? You can go to matineeheroes.com/castoff/application and you can apply to be a guest, a contestant. We'd love to have you. And if that's too difficult for you, you can email us at our new email, mhcastoff@gmail.com, and I will just send you the link to the application. Because don't think you're not going to get out of it, but that's the way it happens. Before we go, special thanks to our additional judges, Brendan Agnew and Tracy Mangum. Brendan will be on Matinee Heroes at the end of April as we wrap up Arnold Schwarzenegger April with the zombie movie Maggie. And Tracy will be appearing on 2 special Utah RemoteCon episodes of the CastOFF in May. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on the CastOFF.